Okay, awesome. It's recording. So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's expert session. I'm Sarah, for everyone who doesn't know me. I'm the community manager at Kiro Money. And to get us started, I am so excited to introduce Ryan. Ryan is a high impact leader at the intersection of education, finance, and entrepreneurship. Currently, he is the head of programs at CAFE, the Center for Accelerating Financial Equity, and the CEO of Venderly. He leverages over a decade of experience to foster economic empowerment and bridge the gap between classroom theory and real-world execution. Alicia, the founder of Kiro, who just joined right now, was actually a member of the Cafe Fall cohort last year and met Ryan during the program. She witnessed firsthand his commitment to providing the framework, mentorship, and resources necessary to turn student ideas into world results. Before I hand it over to him, just a few quick notes on how we'll run things today. We want this to be as interactive as possible, so Ryan welcomes any questions throughout. So please feel free to unmute or put in the chat whenever you have a question or a thought. If you're in a spot where you can turn your camera on, we'd love to see you, but if not, no worries at all. This session will be recorded for all the students in the thick of finals right now. Ryan, we're so happy to have you. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I really appreciate it. Great to see you, Alicia. And again, thanks Jordan and Rihanna, and of course, Aaron for joining me. We're thrilled to be here and really just excited to dive into things and chat all things startups, AI, how you turn ideas that you might think are just a couple $100 into hopefully thousands of dollars. I have, of course, Sarah's wonderful introduction kind of gave you a preview into like my background. But I'd love to just tell people probably one of my favorite facts about what I've been able to help do in my early career is I worked over a decade at Junior Achievement of Delaware, where they have a student startup experience. And during my time there, and then also as I launched Venderly, I've helped to drive in over $1 million back into other people's businesses, all run by students. And then to boot, Aaron and I met at this point, goodness, it's 15 years ago, which is crazy, as we took off and became US Peace Corps volunteers to serve in Kenya together. We are also fluent in Swahili, so if you have any questions in Swahili, we will accept those. But we, also launched a hot dog stand in Kenya alongside a Kenyan counterpart and, sold over 40,000 products in Kenya 15 years ago. When we were young college, just out of college students age. So ultimately we come with a lot of experience and a lot of, on the ground expertise, I like to say. So I would love to, before I actually share anything and dive into anything, I would love to just, I guess, get to know my audience members a little bit more, those who are with us. And if you are, okay, unmuting yourself and giving a quick intro about who you are, and maybe something that you're working on, whether it's an idea or a business that you are hoping to start, I would love to just learn a little bit more about our guest today.
Who wants to go first? Don't be shy. Jordan?
All right. So I'm hoping to start a business to help former fosters learn culinary skills, and the pilot program would be actually basically fosters on foot, where they would work in kitchens, community kitchens, and then sell throughout the neighborhoods and to business parks before we get a storefront, because that's so expensive. So that's my dream. But if there's a side hustle I can do in the meantime to fund that, I am totally open to that.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Rihanna, if you're able to share, we'd love to hear from you as well. And if not, I totally get it. I know she had to go take care of something. And I know we have a new guest who literally just jumped in here. We are sharing ideas for startups or businesses or whatever our passion is. If you're willing to jump off mute and share what you are either working on or hoping to work on one day. and welcome.
Hi. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us. My thing wasn't loading. It's loading, so I'm really sorry. I guess like I'm thinking more like social media related. I don't know if you guys talked about this already, but some sort of like, like entertainment online or influencer style kind of thing.
Awesome. I love that. Aaron and I have some ideas in that space that we're wanting to hopefully dive into a little bit more now that our tech stack is where it needs to be. So really appreciate it. So I guess one thing I'll mention just with Jordan's idea, since you had talked about like, working with culinary or working within the culinary space to help, young people or those who have gone through foster to have opportunities in that space. We have found some great success in the school system and within schools. That was kind of where Venderly got its initial start, where we team up with culinary instructors who ultimately are teaching that to their high school students. And some of the places here in Delaware, as well as in some of the other states I've talked with, have full commercial kitchens inside of their schools, state approved, in fact, where they will get dinged if they, when they get inspected. If they don't pass inspection, they can get shut down, just like a regular restaurant does. But the reason I mention that is they are always, of course, during the school year, they're using the kitchen to teach the students how to cook, and then they're selling that to the staff and the educators of the building. And then, of course, they're always looking for external gigs. And so we've been able to help not only give them the software to be able to do in-person payments, but then also to, have online calendars or online forms where people can fill out information and request them. And then they can actually set that up with maybe 3 or 4 students who actually go out and do that gig, get paid through an invoice, and it's all just in one system. And thank you, Sarah. I appreciate you keeping me posted, because I do see some more folks have jumped in. But yeah, I guess if anyone else, I'll pause for a quick moment. If anyone else wants to hop on here and share kind of their idea, their passion project, something they're interested in learning a little bit more about, and then I will kind of run into some sharing of screens and diving into a little bit more of what Venderly has to offer.
I think we're all set. I was just putting some responses in the chat. Yeah, perfect.
Cool. Appreciate it. Of course, my video, I don't know why here on Google, it loves to pause after so much time. But I am going to go ahead and dive right into, I guess, and Aaron, by all means, if you want to come off mute at any point and chime in, you are welcome to. But let me go ahead and share screen, and I'm going to there we go. All right. And I did close the little spot where I can see all of you guys so that I wouldn't be blocking your screen of view. But this is our website. You might have checked us out already, but it kind of gives a quick overview of who we are, what we do, and who we work for or who we support. So if you come down here and check out some more information, by all means, I recommend that. But we actually have a very specific page, which I'll share at the end of our presentation, for our Kiro partners. So to dive right into the actual platform itself, I wanted to literally kind of give a little demo, if you will. And then as you guys have questions, I know we had some interest around social media, so I'll make sure I mention and talk about that, and then show how all of the right tools, if you will, that people need to bring together to run a business, whether it's a side hustle or a big enterprise. We ultimately, Aaron and I, ran through all kinds of different software and platforms that never really gave us what we needed to scale and grow Venderly. And so ultimately, we found our right software partner that allows us to kind of really turn it into what we want, so we can completely customize for our clients and our customers. So of course, we kick off with a welcome screen, and then as you move kind of through your account and have various dashboards, in fact, that's a slightly older one, but we have this really great integration. In fact, let me hop into one of our client accounts, see I can give you guys a sense of what this looks like. So if I go into one of our clients, which is the main FFA, we kick our partners off with kind of like this video tutorials. So everything you need to know how to do inside of your account, we walk you through it. But even more importantly, and this is where we get really excited about why we're even teaming up with Kiro, which of course looks like I need to refresh my page here in order to get it to load up. But we have integrated with Kiro. And so what's great about that is if you use Kiro for your personal financials, we have teamed up with her and their company to actually embed that same knowledge and experience, but for your business. Because we know as you're trying to grow your business, it's all about knowing how much money you have, knowing how those dollars have come in, and then ultimately knowing how you can make decisions moving forward. And so we're really, really proud because there's no other product out on the market like this that was built specifically for Venderly and our enterprises. And so whether you're wanting to integrate your own products and sell them, where you're building them, whether you want to integrate online onto some really great, what are known as print-on-demand companies, where you can build your brand and on all kinds of different products, in fact, over 400 different products. We can integrate that right into this platform. And what's great is then if I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do, I can literally just have a conversation with the Kiro bot. So what products should I sell? And, what's really great about this is because it is linked here inside of our system and inside of the business here, it's actually looking into your account and it's finding out like who you are. It's looking at your orders if you had some orders, and it's kind of giving some really good information and tips on like what are you like your next steps. You're already having some sales here. Well, where else maybe should you expand or grow your business? Because at the end of the day, it's all about keeping up that momentum. And so we're really proud that this is like a really great tool, whether you're a side hustle, whether you're a school-based enterprise, to really enable kind of that next step, if you will. I see there is a question.
I have a question.
Yes, please come off mute.
It's just my own question I thought of. So if it's in the education space or for a student club versus a nonprofit or a small business, is it tailored for each person? So their business is very different than like, FFA versus like a small business who, are landscapers and things like that. So I was just curious if it's tailored to that specific business or entity.
It is. And are you talking about just the AI tool or the entire platform, if you will?
I think more the platform of Venderly, I think.
Yeah, so yes. So for instance, this is actually a view that most of our schools have, for instance, where it says education. But if I hopped into a nonprofit or a bank or another client's account, it is going to change up some of this wording and make it more relevant to you and your client type. Whenever people sign up, we ask them, are you a nonprofit? Are you a small business? So that we can get to know you a little bit more and then also customize the experience. So for instance, when you come down here, you're not going to get Venderly's curriculum unless you're an educator or within the school system. But you would want to know, how to get in touch with us or how to download the app or how to launch your own merch store. So some of these components or aspects are similar across all of our accounts. And then really in terms of like what features you have access to, at the end of the day, we give you everything you need. And then we do hide certain things that aren't relevant to you as a business. But if you are like, really like, Ryan, hey, do you have this in your platform? And it is something that you would want to integrate that we have hidden, we can literally just turn it on and make it available for you as well. So I'm actually, since you mentioned nonprofit, I need to refresh their page, but I wanted to actually bring up one of the nonprofits that we work with. It's a local one here in Wilmington. They have a high school camp for financial literacy coming up here very soon, in June, in fact. But ultimately, they didn't have a whole lot of resources to launch their website and to have all the dollars come in early. So we actually helped them launch this, pretty much for free. And then all of the swag that you're starting to see here is all of those products that I showed earlier that are connected through that Printful location. And so what's really cool about this is you get to create your own brand. You get to create other people's brands depending on how you're trying to run your business, or if you're trying to be a social media influencer or whatever you're trying to do. You get to build products for yourself or for others and then put them online for a price that generates a profit, because you know what they're charging behind the scenes. But then when that product is placed on your website, the customer can literally come in here. If there are multiple color options, they can come through and make the different selections of those, for instance. And if they are in stock, they can purchase them, right? If they, find something that they like, they add it right to their cart. And the best part about this is once they go through and they get all the way to the checkout process, they check out, enter their information, and this will automatically ship right to that customer. So you don't have to worry about getting, buying a bulk amount of products and hoping to then sell all of those products, because one of the biggest challenges we always saw, whether it was nonprofits or schools, was making investments in things and then hoping to get the dollars back. And so we try to make that easy for you and try to, really bring together those resources so that you can run your business and expand it without taking on too much debt or cost upfront. And then only because I think it was Jordan had mentioned about the culinary. So I actually wanted to bring up one of our culinary partners. So you see they have some swag. They also have some food items that I'd mentioned, they sell to their teachers. But then also, in terms of student fees and exams, whenever they're taking their ServSafe exam or lab fees for the class, all of that is now included right inside of their one platform. So they get to track all of that information. So kind of back here behind the scenes, when orders are coming in, if I go to main and I actually click on the orders, we're going to see live customer information right here, right? So you have orders, you have transactions, you have your products. All of that information is just easy and here for you to manage. And so we just try to give you the platform that does it all. But I'll pause there because I know I kind of went through a lot of information right there. There might be some questions or there might be things that you would like to see. I will also entertain the social media part here, because at the end of the day, social media is a major driver of business and you can integrate so many different accounts. What I love about that, though, is then you can actually schedule all of those posts across different platforms right from here. And as you start to do that, you then also start to receive all the analytics around how many people are looking at those posts, how many are engaging with them. And what's really great about that, once you come into, actually, let me come over to here into the analytics section, you'll start to see all of the sales and information related to that. Now, of course, they don't have any funnels pages, but they do have websites. And so you see your conversion rates, you see your opt-ins, your sales, et cetera. So there's multiple places that you get to see all your data. And this platform really makes it easy for you to, they even have some international customers, to have it all at your fingertips. And I think, at least from my experience running a business, we ran into challenges of, we would start down one path and it would give us most of what we needed. And then we'd have to go find another software provider or another platform. We had to piece all these things together that ultimately wasted our time. And so finally, we feel like we have a one-stop shop that has all of your online website stuff, all your social media stuff, your AIs built in, QR codes, which many people, are really wanting to make sure they have. You can build an unlimited number of QR codes here inside of the platform. And then, of course, track all of the analytical data back to those QR codes. So how many scans, how many unique scans, all that information is available right here in one space. Question?
Yeah. Hey, Ryan, this is Alicia. I've seen the platform so many times, but every time I see it, it's such an amazing platform for anyone who still wants to start a side hustle. I was just thinking about a use case. Maybe this is relevant, especially for what Elodie is trying to explore for her side hustle. But let's say you're a content creator and you have affiliate partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
How could you set it up on Venderly to where you're tracking all the links from your affiliate partners, and you can like really track conversion. You can schedule all those posts, because I think that's something like when I've spoken to like some of my friends who are content creators, it's like very hard to do and understand like where you're getting conversion and like where is most of your revenue coming from. So yeah, I'm wondering like on that social media side, like how can someone track all of that?
Great question. And I think I heard it all, but I'm going to repeat it just to make sure. So if I am let's say I'm a content creator and I've run social media for 10 different clients, and I want to track all of their different clients' work, if you will. So the way at least I first would think about that, and the way I would want to set up a partner with Venderly or within our system, is we would just sign them as a partner where they would get multiple businesses. And I'm going to share screen again, just so you can see kind of what that actually looks like here inside of the platform. So is that again. And I also wanted to just point out connecting Canva and Google Drive are two things that you can do. And then you can have multiple Canva accounts that you bring the media in. It's really cool. But this little button right here, as you might have saw me hopping from account to account. So this could be for anyone. They could have any of their businesses and their clients set up right here where they're going between business and business. And one thing I'm going to do just to simulate it is you can actually hop from account to account inside of that same section. So actually where they have linked up their Facebook and something else maybe, or at least Facebook, you can see all the posts, you can see statistics right here. So if then I took the same, I guess, tab, and I wanted to hop into another business that had social media, and I know we have not posted lately, it would actually refresh back into, and it's going to say no post found, but in that same exact spot in your account. And then what's really great about that, at least for my thoughts, is that you can see that data really fast. You could hop from business to business and then be able to, off of that, start eventually setting up some additional AI automations, some AI follow-ups, where maybe once they hit certain statistics, I'm pretty certain in the automation section, you can set up some really cool workflows that enable you to, when this post or this campaign reaches this number of views or this number of clicks, do this as like the next step. So that's something I haven't even gotten into yet, but that's kind of, I guess, Alicia, how I would think about it, and how we would end up trying to help setting up like someone who wanted to have 10 different clients. We would actually have them create 10 different accounts for each client and sync up each social so they could hop in and manage each one individually.
Can I just add a little bit to it?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I mean, and at a high level, we think about Venderly as a platform for running your business, and in many instances, kind of the playing offense side of it. So you're creating products, you're creating forward-facing websites. There's a lot of, as Ryan kind of alluded to, the piping behind the scenes there for automations. Like you could have what's called a trigger link. And so you could have a call to action in that social campaign where somebody clicks a trigger link, and then it kicks off a workflow automation, maybe a series of emails or whatever you want to do. There's a lot of different options in the automations. And so it's sort of, again, playing offense in the pipe, like piping all that up to have the ability to do it. And then the integrations that we have with the Kiro AI, with Printful, it sort of broadens the ability of kind of the types of businesses that you could think about doing or that you could bolt onto your existing business. The culinary program there that Ryan showed you guys saw, they're taking payments, they've got a website, they're running that business, and then they're supplementing it with, with the products. And so in the instance that you said there, Alicia, there's value in having sort of that agency set up and having them in different sub-accounts, because at the end of the day, kind of underpinning an account is this concept of CRM, customer relationship management database, right? Where you're getting all of your customers' information, you're storing it, and then you can do different things, different automations with it. You can take payments, you can go back and remind folks, maybe if they went to, they put a few items in the shopping cart in your merch store and they didn't check out, you can come back in a few days and remind them to come back and buy. So yeah, just wanted to add a couple comments on there. It's a really powerful platform, and we've done some cool things with the integrations, and especially the Kiro AI chatbot. It's connected up through your business, so you can ideate on your social media posts. You could ideate on different types of products. You can ask it about your business performance and get suggestions or recommendations for things that you could do better, like offering bundles, for your culinary or something like that, right? So I'll stop there.
No, I appreciate that, Sharon.
Actually, there was one other thing I wanted to add that like really showcases how amazing Venderly is. And it's that if you're a business, a small business, using a startup, whatever it is, right now, for you to get all of this tooling, you will have to go to MailChimp, Squarespace, Webflow, GoDaddy, Stripe, the list goes on, like 10 plus providers, do it all on your own, set up all the integrations. Venderly, one-stop shop. And you don't have to know how to code or anything like that to do it either. And so I think it makes it so much more accessible for anyone who wants to build a digital presence for their business, for their organization, for their side hustle. And you can do it pretty quickly, spin something up with the Venderly ecosystem. So just like to like double down on like how incredibly valuable this is, even as we think about I was just thinking about Ryan, as you're going through that, I was like, man, we're using so many different like many chats and MailChimp, and like that's what everyone is doing, but you're solving that problem.
Yeah, I love that you double down on that, Alicia, because that's the problem we went through, frankly, where we started out, honestly, like years ago on Square, and then we realized that like it wouldn't actually support what we were really wanting to do. And like there's two factors of that. When you're building in software and you don't own the software, you can't control the software. Square was a company that doesn't enable their people or their users to have any control over their software. They just push out updates and say good luck. And that's true with most what I would call forward or customer facing products out there on the market, which are your Shopify's, your Etsy's, your Squarespace, your Square, your Toast, like Clover. I can go on and on and on and on. And you ultimately become their product, where they want your information, they want all your customers' information, and they're going to sell that over and over and over to make dividends for their business. And that was something that we always were like, how do we find a platform that doesn't sell our data? And then how do we also find a platform that once we hit certain numbers, like certain people in a contact list, we don't have to keep paying hundreds of more dollars to get more people in our list? Because it was like, why should I be charged money for getting more people into my list of people I want to communicate with? And of course, that's how HubSpot works. And so it's actually part of the reason why this entire platform, High Level, exists today, because one of the former co-owners or co-founders of HubSpot spun off years ago and said, I don't want to do it that way. And then what we love about it is there are developers working around the world on our system that run I will call it the main infrastructure that myself and Aaron don't have the skills or the abilities to run, that we can always count on being there for us. That being said, they still allow us to go in and customize every aspect of it. Hide this, change the words on this. It's all for us. And then ultimately we pass that on to our customers because they don't have time to go learn all these things and try to piece it all together. And that was really one of the things we wanted to try and make easy for people who need to focus more of their time and energy on doing the work, instead of going back and rebuilding their website or trying something that they couldn't do before. And of course, Square and others just kept upping there. It's like, it's free now. And then once they gathered as many customers as they could, they're going to keep chipping away at how much they can take out of your pocket. And one thing Venderly has always been about is we never touch your revenues, and we put a flat rate fee out there, and that's what you're going to pay on a monthly or yearly basis, because we feel like that's the way business should be done. So I guess I can certainly share more. I know you mentioned like not using or not knowing code, for instance, as one of those things that, In fact, many of the things Venderly has done, Aaron and I don't know code, although I do know a little HTML, not useful anymore. Ultimately, we use AI very heavily to characterize what we want, even share other people's websites or other components, assets that we want ours to look similar like. And AI is really good at building that. And just to give you a sense of what I mean by that, I'm going to share screen again, just so you can see what's really cool about our system here. I'm actually going to go into one of our swim club groups. And
Ryan, while you're pulling that up, I just want to add too. I mean, I think sometimes you and I actually got into almost this fatigue of switching platforms. We did it a number of times. I think we did at least 3 or 4. And what we landed on when we kind of built this platform for ourselves, when we found this and built it for ourselves, this looks similar to HubSpot, which looks similar to other solutions that are out there. There's the switching cost of moving between these platforms is starting to get a little bit smaller. And what we have that other platforms don't have is within the Kiro chatbot's knowledge base, it understands, basically it's been trained on the help section, of the infrastructure layer of this website. So if you're trying to do something, you can ask your chatbot and it can actually walk you through how to do it in the platform, which is something that, Square definitely doesn't have. And I think HubSpot to date probably doesn't either.
Yeah, really appreciate you sharing that, Aaron. So I really just wanted to kind of like behind the scenes, like as you look at this website build, for instance, you have a custom HTML JavaScript button here. You have a widgets, they're not selling guitars and chairs and coffee mugs. This is just a widget. But if we actually then view this web page and what it looks like, they have a logo here. They have some links up here. They have a nice footer. That's all AI. And so what's really great about that is you can literally, like Alicia said, you can launch your account in this platform in a matter of, honestly, a day. Like you could go from idea to launched website with real products that you could sell in a matter of hours, syncing up your socials, and then you can build off of that, right? So there are so many different things in here. There are pre-built sections that you can drag right into your platform based on, you want it to look a certain way, but you want to edit the logos that are in there. It's super fast and easy to literally drag that in, click a logo, and change the logo. So for instance, if it was your business and you were trying to do that, boom, we click publish and we're now off to the races. Undoing things is also really easy. Looking at it in desktop and mobile, really fast and easy, right? At the end of the day, we fell into so many challenges and really found out like so many other entrepreneurs fall into those challenges. So many other nonprofits fall into those. And, at the end of the day, that's your hard-earned dollars and time and effort that are going out the door to some company. And so we take, that really serious about trying to make sure, every dollar we can help you. And like, for instance, I've never been to Grayland Crest Swim Club, but I definitely helped them launch their website. And you can kind of see this is their live, and then we have a future. So of course you can duplicate things and say, this is what I have now, work on this stuff behind the scenes, and then just switch some links. And all of a sudden, everything goes live for you and your clients. So question.
Yes, that was amazing. I think it's so cool how versatile it can be used for like nonprofits, students, small businesses. I was just curious, just for like students in general and people just getting started, because I believe Jordan like asked like how to even get started. What would you kind of suggest for that if someone was kind of building their side hustle? I know it can be very intimidating. I mean, I tried, to clean houses around the area when I was kind of having difficulty finding a job, but it's so hard to keep track of contacts, clients, even where to even get started. So I was wondering if you had any tips or using Venderly and Kiro, how that could help streamline the process of that.
I definitely think, brainstorming with the Kiro bot inside of the account will come up with some really great ideas. I also would just like double down on, 2 things I've seen no matter across the country that I've always seen opportunities in. And especially if you're, if you're getting started, you're all about, let me get a couple clients and then I'll grow. I mean, that was how Venderly started. It was a school here, then it was 3 or 4 schools, and then it was the whole state of Delaware, right? So like you have to start somewhere and then you have to keep after it. But in terms of like just like where you could begin, what I love about Printful is you don't have to put any money down, but you could sell school-based products. You could sell nonprofit logoed products. You could sell local coffee shop products. You can sell any products you really want as long as it's not a trademarked logo. So like you can't get in there and just drop, you know, professional sports teams logos on swag and hope you can sell that, right? However, like for instance, I think I had shown Maine FFA. Well, the FFA logo is a trademarked logo. So their technology, when you try to print something, if you don't have the permission, they pause and say, hey, hold on, can you print this? And if you have that information that says, yes, I'm legally allowed to do it, then they go ahead and say, great. And they open up the gates and let you sell your products. So what I love about Printful and Venderly working together is you could just launch an account in a store and sell, you know, a couple hoodies a month in order to pay for Venderly, honestly. And that's like part of what our, you know, focus is right now is we would rather help bring on entrepreneurs and be a partner with them and charge a really low fee in order to help them start their business as low as $15 a month. Once your business is running, not pre-build. So like if you're building and getting your website built, we're not going to charge you $1. Once you're ready to go live and start bringing in dollars and bring in forms of payments and membership and all that stuff, that's when we'll start charging for you. So at the end of the day, we'll let people come in, you know, even get a sub account and try it out and go, do I like this? Is it the things that I need for my business? And they can keep building for free all the way up until they're like, you know what? It's time to take this thing live. I want to publish my website. I want to start doing some payments. Can I, you know, what do I need to do with Venderly? And so we're running a special with Kiro where you get 50% off. So $15 a month for 6 months. And honestly, if there was someone who came to me and say, Ryan, I still need 6 more months. With our school clients, with everyone, we are always flexible and willing to try to assist someone as they're getting up and off the ground. Because I've donated accounts for schools or student clubs sometimes whenever they had a good experience, but maybe they didn't make very much money. And what I was going to charge was about what they made. It's like, I'm not about to take all of their money. So at the end of the day, like our goal and our focus is on trying to help organizations and people be able to spend less time on their tech and more on what they actually enjoy doing, and then have technology that's going to actually support that growth and help inspire additional ideas. And I think what Alicia and Kiro has done to help us put that in one place, I think is really powerful. And frankly, I just haven't seen anything out there like that. And then the last thing I'll say, our platform has some companies that are very big on it, like Series B and further type of very large institutions. So, and one of those, Sarah, which triggered my thought in this, is a company that basically helps provide people who work in, I will just say it, the broad or the wide range of jobs that are involved with manual labor to a certain degree. So whether it's your HVAC, your electricians, your plumbers, your cleaners, all of those types of folks. There's one company that actually is very large that uses the same software we're using, and they are hundreds of millions of dollars every year type company. And so at the end of the day, like whether you want to launch a cleaning business and have, you know, a phone number and being able to text people, which is also part of our platform, or whether you want to do just online social media stuff and launch products and sell them through Printful for your brands or your clients, all of that is achievable. And ultimately, I will always tell people, if you're going to be successful in business, it has to be something you're passionate in, because there are going to be tough days that aren't going well, and you got to push through those. And that is one thing that most entrepreneurs have been able to manage or deal with as they go through those low periods, because then hopefully thereafter you have some highs, you have some wins, and that's what it's kind of all about, right? So hopefully I answered your question, but you could start with really simple ideas. You could be more enterprise based. At the end of the day, the software is there for, I like to say, all of those partners or all of those clients.
Thank you. That answered my question completely. Like, I think it's so cool too, because right now in the economy in the world, right, like resources are very limited, and just someone who's like kind of worked in city work or just nonprofit work a little bit too, volunteering, I've noticed too, there's so much overload of work, especially even with like case management or just workload, and just using AI, to try to streamline it will really help. And then you can do the most with the greater good. And so I love that the Venderly platform like offers that, because especially with nonprofits, burnout, things like that, and then small businesses trying to, get up and running, it takes a lot of time and energy for them to go on different platforms. I know that when I speak with people, they notice that too. And even my own thinking, I thought of that. So I'm so glad that this exists, and that Kiro's chatbot has definitely helped. So thank you so much, Ryan.
Of course. Well, and one more thing I just have to add, and then I'll stop talking and open it up for final questions, is another thing that is very common in the industry is getting charged higher percentages than what you should get charged in processing fees. So I can name a laundry list of companies that help support nonprofit and donations and membership organizations, and they charge above 2.9%, which is your standard processing fee, whether it's Stripe, Square, Shopify, you name it. 2.9 is essentially what everyone's going to charge for online payments. There are companies that do 3.5, 3.9, 6%, 8%. And when we're talking millions of dollars, that is thousands of dollars going out your organization to some company that frankly shouldn't be taking your money. And that's one thing we have always been passionate about. And then, frankly, we're going to do that within education, where there have been some predatory partners or vendors going into schools, but it exists across the entire industry of people taking a little percentage of your revenue, which we just feel like is what's crushing the industry partially. But Aaron, I think you might have something you wanted to add.
Yeah, sorry, I just had something to take care of here, but maybe there was a time and a place where it was appropriate. But this technology, this platform is so cool that Ryan and I, it's just him and I have been able to build this, with some help from Kiro's team and, plenty of folks that are smarter than us, but it's taken a small village. But this is something now that we can offer commercially to the world, and we can do it for basically cheap to nothing, as Ryan said, at a deep discount to the people that are already out there, the middlemen, as it were, who we're endeavoring to cut out. So again, maybe there was a reason that they existed, but I think their days are numbered because we think that we've got a better value proposition for people. Better, cheaper.
Yep. Appreciate that share, Aaron. Any other questions that I can entertain, or anything that I haven't shown in the platform side of things that you all would like to see? I guess the one thing I haven't really shown is there are so many integrations. So if you already are on Google and you have a bunch of stuff in Google Forms or Google your calendar, and you just want to integrate that and then have that available to where people can book calls with you, but it's looking at your other appointments and making sure you don't get double booked and things like that. And if you want it to look at 5 different calendars because you have a bunch of jobs like I do, you can have it do that. So, there's just so many capabilities. And as you can hear from Aaron and I, we can go on and on about all of these different things, but it's really about how you want to use it for your business or your nonprofit or your side hustle. So I'm happy to see if I can take any other final questions, but this has been a lot of fun.
And Ryan, we'll make sure to send a follow-up message to everyone who's registered so they can get a specific link for the Venderly sign up plus the Kiro promotion.
Yes. Yes, please.
I just wanted to add, I think this is super cool. I know that one of like my goals with being the community manager for Kiro was definitely getting more awareness around, platforms like this. The Arizona network and Tucson network, we have a lot of definitely small businesses. You know, I know that the cosmetology business is huge in Arizona. You know, I know a lot of my friends who went to school for, you know, hair or beauty and things like that. So I've definitely mentioned it to them. And then also, I know you mentioned HVAC. There's a lot of blue collar people that work here. So, you know, I'm a big thinker, but I really do think that like your platform is very versatile and a lot of people could benefit from it. And so that makes it, you know, we're making progress in the world and the economy and just everybody's lives. So this is so amazing. And I'm so glad that we made the time today, and for everyone who showed up. Tucson Network strong, and for all the
That's right.
too. Yeah, we're definitely, they'll watch it and get something from this for sure.
Well, thank you, Sarah. And the last thing I'll mention, especially since you brought it up with like people who work in the beauty industry, Gloss Genius, which is a well-known, popular software platform, charges a lot of money to just do bookings. They don't even do the payments. You usually go from Gloss Genius to then Square or something else. And so then you're getting double hammered by double pricing. And, you know, all they do is provide like a reminder email and a text message. And all of that can be done here inside of your account for pennies at the end of the day. Like, it really is for pennies. And they're going to charge you so much per month just to have access to that. So part of that was like us dissecting what's out there and going, that's how they make money. And realizing, wait, we could do that over here. And just full transparency, High Level ended up white labeling Calendly's scheduling tool because they were like, wait, we could actually make this tool available for our people for free instead of the $10, which I don't know if Calendly's still doing that or not. But, and then give you all of the reminders and all the things that you would want to have as someone books a meeting with you, you know, send the Zoom link to them, add it to their calendar, all that stuff. They pretty much just white labeled inside of their platform. Because I actually had a tech guy go, you know, they white labeled Calendly. And I was like, I did not know that. And he's like, yeah. I was like, that's quite interesting. So, you know, the platform itself, very integratable, very much something that can hopefully help inspire your next idea. And then hopefully we'll be there to help make it happen. So just really appreciate everyone's time and energy today. Pass it on back over to Sarah and Alicia, but thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Definitely the recording might take a little bit of time to upload, but once it's uploaded, Luma will send it out to everyone who registers so you can rewatch it, you know, and definitely we'll send out that link to get the promotion and be on Venderly's platform. Anything else, Alicia?
I think we should also get some snippets from this session and post it on our socials, because I definitely think there was so many amazing nuggets that we can showcase on Kiro's Instagram and TikTok. So we're gonna make sure to spread the word on Venderly.
Awesome. Thank you. And those, by the way, I did throw the link in the chat, but we'll email it out to you all as well. So
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Questions? Any last questions? Everyone's good?
Thank you for this.
you're very welcome.
Thank you.
Everyone have a great Friday and a great
Have a
weekend.
great weekend as well.
Bye.
Bye,
See
y'all.
y'all.